Welcome to Cordkillers, Reckoning. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we're just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Where's the good stuff, Brian?
Oh my goodness, the good stuff was, and always has been in our hearts, Tom. I can't believe you haven't got that message yet after 14 years of us doing this.
Here in my heart?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's where it is?
Yes, which is
The whole
why
time?
you'll notice a whole bunch. Oh God, if I could, how great would it be for a bunch of like a sniper laser
like red dots? That would be amazing. That would mean that I would run. In other words, I would supply run.
Oh.
Supply run, supply run, supply run.
Brian, we must never believe Netflix again.
Well, hold on.
Never trust them. Never take them at their word.
Tom, look, calm down. I want you to come down off of your perch.
No.
I want you to set aside your sniper rifle.
No.
I want you to acknowledge, hey, you were freaked out when I want to say Reed Richards, but it was Reed Hastings was talking about Quickster. You were freaking out about how we shouldn't trust them on that. And yes, you were right. We shouldn't have trusted them about Quickster. And yes, you were right that we shouldn't have trusted them about many other things. But just for sake of argument, because I'm trying to get you down off of this tent pole, what's this time?
Netflix signed a 3-year deal with the NFL to live stream 2 Christmas Day games this year and at least 1 game on Christmas in 2025 and 2026.
Okay, well, oh, Tom, I know you get a little bit.
They said we'll never do ads. They're doing ads. They said we'll never crack down on password sharing. They cracked down. Okay, they didn't say never in either of those cases, but they highly implied that they wouldn't do those. And then they said, Brian, sports, yeah, probably not really our thing. We'd want control. We certainly wouldn't want to pay those crazy high prices that, leagues like the NFL charge.
Well, see, the thing, Tom, is sometimes you talk crazy talk, and I know that it all comes from well-sourced material, but see, if you say those things, that means that you and I were wrong in the past, and I'm not entirely okay with that because we were talking about how Netflix was doing the smart thing of kind of inventing their own sports, kind of like they did with the F1 racing stuff, with all of the background, the reality programming, and then also happening
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, 10-year deal for WWE Raw. We're like, that's the kind of live sports Netflix will do. That makes sense.
Right. So I'm not sure which medications you've stopped using, but it sounds like you're saying crazy talk right now because
I have not
with our predictions in the past.
I have not stopped taking my levothyroxine, but I don't know that would cause me to go. Yeah,
I've not stopped taking my omeprazole, whatever the acid reflux thing.
Yeah, Netflix 3-year deal. The games will still be broadcast on local TV. So if your team is playing on Christmas Day from your local market, you'll be able to watch it on your regular channel. You won't have to get Netflix. Everybody else will have to watch it on Netflix. 3-year deal. 2 games this year, at least 1 game, possibly 2 games, 2026. And it's just Christmas Day. So it isn't a big wide deal. And it isn't very long. And, NFL likes to sign these 10-year big deals. I am very curious to find out the real story of how Netflix came to get these rights. I wonder, Brian, if it wasn't a too good to pass up situation where the NFL said, yeah, we have these Christmas Day games and we'll give you a screaming deal as far as the NFL goes to take them because, we want to try it out or I don't know. I can't imagine the NFL giving a discount, I guess, is the only problem with that story.
I don't like being wrong, Tom. And the closest I can accept to being wrong on this one was exactly your scenario where it's like, we were right about their plan, but then they got an offer that
They
was
could
too
not
good to pass up.
refuse.
Yeah. Look, we're on the outside looking in. Does that feel right to you?
It's the only thing that fits my perception of things. Although, as we were joking earlier, but they have changed their mind in the past and been like, you know what, ads pretty good. In fact, that's another story this past week. Netflix is no longer going to have Microsoft provide its ads. It's going to bring its ad tech fully in house. Says it now has 40 million subscribers. So ad stuff going great enough that they're like, yeah, we need to have more control and keep more of the money of this. So maybe they just looked at it and said, you know what? Retention numbers will go up enough that we can justify a couple of games. Maybe they never thought they could get a deal this small from the NFL. They may have been saying, we would never want to pay the money that Google paid for Sunday Ticket, and they won't offer us anything else. And something changed at the NFL. Maybe, I don't know.
So this is maybe a good time to remind everybody who's unfamiliar that there's a difference between privately held companies and publicly held companies. Like, for example, Chick-fil-A is very, very proud about the fact that they do not now and will not ever be open on a Sunday, what have you. But when you are answerable to a bunch of stakeholders, kind of the rules change, and you become, depending on the company, like if you're Apple, who's sitting on more money than any company in the world, then you're in a different position from Netflix, who has a fair bit of cash on hand, but also is kind of flexible about, how what they're doing aligns with what previously they said they were going to do. Um, you know more about this world than I do when it comes to the tech industry. Wait, what's your gut check on that read?
I do tend to think that people these days overestimate the influence of being a public company on how the company operates. I think it has as much to do with that, and I'm not saying it doesn't have something to do with that, as it does with the personality of the folks in charge. The only way Apple got that pile of cash is Steve Jobs resisting the demands of the investors over and over and over again. I do think that Ted Sarandos and Reed Hastings, when he was CEO on his own, were better at resisting those things. I think Jeff Bezos was better at resisting those things at Amazon. I think founders often are better at resisting those things and maybe can get away with it because they're founders more. And Netflix is no longer in Reed Hastings' hands. You've got Ted Sarandos still in there, but it is probably more respondent to investor concerns than it was in the past, if that makes sense.
So if we're going to armchair pharmacologist for them, like, what drug would we prescribe to Netflix right now? Because it looks like, nothing about this really makes a lot of sense to me. Because if you're going to go all in on the NFL, you should go all in on the NFL.
I don't know if I agree with you on that.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Share this. Go ahead.
I don't know how much they paid for this, so that would make a big difference in my logic. But in some ways, this is the best possible deal, because what the NFL gets you is retention, right? People subscribe to DirecTV for no other reason than it had Sunday Ticket. That's why Google is winning with YouTube TV, because they got Sunday Ticket, and people are subscribing to YouTube TV for no other reason than they can get Sunday Ticket. I think what Netflix realized is there are going to be a lot of people who want to watch this Christmas Day game. And there are going to be a lot of people who have Netflix who maybe are kind of getting tired of the password crackdown or the ads or the price hikes, who will decide to put up with those because they're like, but I got this game. And, keep people for 1 month, sure. But with subscriptions, a lot of times if you keep them for 1 month, you keep them for more. So it is a way to keep people who are like, well, I don't want to disconnect because they get that Christmas game. And the average viewer may go, and who knows when they'll have another one. So maybe I should just keep it. As well as a bunch of people who are going to say, I want to watch this game. Oh, I have to have Netflix. I used to have it. Yeah, I guess I'll subscribe again. and they will pick up some new subscribers. Not that they have a lot of new subscribers in the US, but there are a lot of NFL fans around the world who will now be like, oh, you know what? I can get it through Netflix. Great. I'll watch it there. There will be grumping and there will be complaining about that. Like, I can't believe I have to have Netflix to watch this game. But as we have seen in other situations like this, people complain, but they subscribe.
So we've spoken before about the kind of false shadow of the return of cable with bundles and all that stuff. Do you think this might be a play on Netflix's behalf to maintain the chaos of like, sure you want to subscribe to a bundle? I don't know. We could do NFL too.
Netflix is in some of those bundles, though.
Right. Which is why I'm asking you, because you pay more attention to this than I do.
I don't know that it has much to do with the bundles. I think it is Netflix's way of doing a low cost, high value, and low cost because they're only doing 2 games and only doing 3 years. But doing a high value retention play and attraction play. They won't get as many signups as they would if they weren't as saturated as they are in the US, but they're certainly going to get some.
I'll tell you what, it does put me in the headspace of thinking that we're a little bit like in the beginning, when you and I started doing versions of this show, there was, very clearly the Empire and the Rebellion, and then there was the Balkanization, and then there was chaos, and now we're seeing a consolidation. It kind of feels like this is part of a move back to chaos for me. I don't know.
Why do you think it's a move back to chaos?
What we have is the threat of a bunch of entities, consolidating into essentially what we feel like cable was back in the day. And this would be a good way to kind of shake things up if somebody was kind of like on the periphery, basically a little finger of the entire situation. And I don't know if that's me projecting or if that resonates with you.
I get what you're saying. Sports is in a little more chaos than the rest of the landscape, but it's consolidating fast. And we're going to talk a little more about some of that consolidation, but you see Netflix possibly reacting to the consolidation of sports streaming to say, well, we better have something or we will be left out on the outside of that. But the most important part of this story, Brian, is never believe Netflix. So,
I mean, you know what? I think 5 years ago, Brian would have disagreed with you. Current day Brian is like, yep.
So what other things has Netflix said it will never do that we can count on happening within the next 2 years?
I guess give up on Quickster. Never.
Well, they already did that one, but sell to Apple. I've been saying that Netflix is not going to sell to anyone for a long time. So mark it down, folks. Your Netflix sale to somebody coming soon.
One of the things that we talked about, and I don't remember which of us proposed it, but we talked about the wild possibility that Netflix as a fast service, like as just a straight up channel with ads.
Yeah, get ready for Netflix Fast. It's coming soon. Yeah.
I mean, are you on board for that? You think that's on the board?
I don't believe in anything anymore, Brian.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page because I always hate it when I feel like a dupe about what is what people actually do.
I saw this and I was like, I have been credibly saying like, and Netflix's live strategy for sports is going to be very different. It's not going to, and then they go sign the NFL. If they'd signed the NBA, I wouldn't have been as heartbroken about my own being wrong as I was when it was like, no, they went right to the top. I
was really hoping that they would invent new sports. Like,
yes, no, I loved that idea. Yeah. Or expand a small sport, like you were saying with pickleball or, something like that.
And by the way, for those of you who don't know, part of the reason I keep mentioning pickleball is because first of all, it's been a cultural phenomenon over the last 4 years, but also specifically here in Austin, there's a famous lawyer named David Comey, the attorney who rocks. And when we interviewed him, all he wanted to do was talk about entering the seniors professional league of pickleball. And I was like,
okay,
man, there's something there.
at the risk of going too far down a side jag.
Oh no, I go all the way in.
TMS Vegas, the Morning Stream Vegas, Brian Ibbett and Scott Johnson's thing every year in Vegas is at the Plaza on Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
You mean Biff's Hotel and Casino?
Biff's Hotel and Casino, the very same. I went there the first year to a pool party. Thank you, Barry. And as I was going out to the pool, past a pickleball court that they had set aside. I was like, oh, that's cute. They've got pickleball. I guess it's really taken off. The next year, they not only had the pickleball court, but they had a full gear shop of pickleball accessories, paddles, shorts, pickleballs, all of it. I'm like, wow, the pickleball's really taken off.
No,
this year, half the roof is pickleball courts, like front to back. It's pool on one half, pickleball on the other half. So if that helps you understand just how big pickleball has become, if you didn't already, now you know. The more you know about pickleball.
Is it too late to create the Cordkillers League of Pickleball Championships?
No, it's never too late. Let's get a deal with Netflix for it.
Well, you know what? I don't trust them anymore. Let's get a deal with literally anybody else.
Smart. Yeah, good point. Good point. Since we are talking about Netflix, some things that are in fact happening. New anime series Terminator Zero will release worldwide on August 29th with 8 episodes. If you recall your convoluted time-traveling, skin-wearing cyborg apocalyptic history, as The Verge says, you will realize that the 27th anniversary of the series Judgment Day is August 29th. That's when the machines begin their conquest of humanity. And Terminator Zero will take into account all the Terminator movies. It will be set mostly in 1997 Tokyo. As a way of being able to take into account all of those movies.
It is fairly remarkable that in our lifetime, we've seen the rules of time travel storytelling change. Like you and I remember being young and watching Back to the Future and understanding like a singular timeline and what happens if you have the grandfather paradox and so on. And then, we saw all the iterations since then. And then we saw, Avengers Endgame, where the Hulk just says, don't worry about it. Many worlds theory. And it's like, that's all real science that has changed about the thinking of the nature of time over all of this. And to be honest, I'm kind of ready to go back. And I know you've always been a fan of just keep it simple time travel. I'm ready to go back there for causality stuff.
Yeah. No, this is going to be good. And Netflix has renewed the 3-Body Problem for a second season. So that story, which is told over several books, will continue on Netflix as well.
We've talked about the fact that both of us have read at least the first book. I got halfway into the second book. You did watch this. How did you feel about it? No, you didn't? Okay.
Nope.
All right.
I have nothing more to say about the 3-Body Problem, other than I'm embarrassed that it's still sitting there in my to-watch read queue.
3-Body Problem, so good that
neither one of us have watched the books,
but neither of us watched the show.
Book's better than the show. I don't know. We haven't watched it. We can't say. All right. What we can say is that 80% of you want us to keep reading the Patreon ad in the show because you like our awkward ad-lib style, according to a poll on Patreon.
Well, hold on. Oh, I was about to ask you how we knew that, but I guess you just told that. But that just, made this awkward, which you're welcome.
You are welcome.
Patreon.com/Cordkillers is how you guys have, from the beginning, kept us loud, live, and independent, which, by the way, let's get a little bit awkward. Tom, I think I told you at one point, I always say loud, live, and independent. I've been ripping that off the entire time, right?
Yes, but I don't remember anymore who you rip it off of.
There was some nationwide alternative rock station that said
Oh,
Loud Live and Nationwide. And they
yeah,
were in
yeah, yeah.
Houston, they were in Austin, they were all over the
I
place.
remember that station in
Yeah,
Austin, as a matter of fact.
in
Yeah.
in Austin, I believe it was like 98.9. I don't know, some version of K-Rock or whatever. But in this case, it's actually real. Like, we see all of your responses. We see every single comment that you guys make. You guys actually cause the show to get better when you give, I don't know, a buck an episode, or how much we ask him for? $75 an episode?
$75 an episode seems fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. $75 an episode is all it takes for you to keep us impressively loud, live, and independent
Yeah.
here at Cord Killers. Head on over to patreon.com/cordkillers. We're starting to put more stuff, more really, really good stuff behind the paywall. So what say you just click that button and forget about it?
Yeah, if you want our
don't-
discussion about hacks, the old spoiler in time discussion, that is at patreon.com/cordkillers, as well as a poll this week about cold open videos. Sometimes we open the show with a video and the audio folks just hear the audio, but it just starts with that. Sometimes it's a trailer, sometimes it's something we found that's funny. And so we asked whether you like those or not. Patreon.com/cordkillers. Let's move on to the search party. It's time to bring back the old trailer park name, because we got a lot of trailers parked here in the search party segment. Starting with two that we want to talk about at the same time. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, coming back to Amazon Prime Video August 29th, has a full trailer out. And Max's House of the Dragon, or rather HBO's House of the Dragon, has its official season 2 trailer. It returns to Max and HBO June 16th. For 8 episodes. Brian, before I watched these trailers, I thought, sort of interested in the Rings of the Power, but I'm kind of excited for House of the Dragon. How did you feel before you watched these trailers?
Now, keep in mind, I've not watched either of these. However, Lord of the Rings, the trailer, very clearly is a story in progress. It was in media res, I think you say it. But basically, like, I felt from the beginning of this trailer that I was like, oh, dude, I missed something. And whatever it is happening is awesome. And then meanwhile, House of the Dragon season 2 felt like, I don't know what this is, but man, somebody's really clearing their throat. The end.
I'm glad you said that, because as someone who has watched season 1 of both of these, I watched the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power trailer and was like, that looks way better than the first season. And I enjoyed the first season, but I just thought it was a little long. And granted, this is a trailer. Maybe it's still really long and these are just the best parts, but I'm like, that looks like a story I cannot wait to see. House of the Dragon, I really enjoyed the first season. I thought it was a compelling story, and that did not come through in this trailer. I was less excited for House of the Dragon after watching this.
Like, even the trailer itself, and keep in mind, this is coming from somebody on the outside, and I don't know what they're going for specifically, but it's like, it was a tedious trailer. Like, if a trailer is meant to seduce somebody from the outside to coming in, I'm just like,
Yeah,
so complicated.
it did. It was overly complicated. So I'm gonna chalk it up to just, a trailer that missed me.
Being a bad show.
Yeah, maybe there's a person that this trailer is meant for, but I still believe House of the Dragon will be a good season 2.
Okay, I believe you.
Dune Prophecy is a prequel series to the Dune movies, the Villeneuve Dune movies, about the Bene Gesserit, and it is coming to Max this fall. There was a trailer for that, but no specific date. They just said this fall. They did not, as far as I know, unless I missed it, Brian, mention the Butlerian Jihad directly.
Well, and although it does take place, 10,000 years in the past?
Yeah, way before. Exactly.
Right. And the aesthetics are absolutely gorgeous. It looks like the Dune movies. Unfortunately, I only read the first Dune book. And from what I understand, as we go into Dune Part 3, I'm finally going to experience the second book. But
I actually don't know if this is 10,000 years before or if just there is a section that is 10,000 years before, because I'm pretty sure they're talking about the plan to give birth to Paul and all of that. So it may jump around in
that
time.
probably was not 10,000 years ago.
No, I'm assuming not. I don't think she had that long of a carriage of Paul
could have
Atreides.
sworn I read 10,000 years something.
They did. No, they did say 10,000 years before at the very beginning of the trailer. It was a little confusing, but then they're talking about Paul being born, or they're alluding it. So I think it's going to jump around in time. But
I'll tell you what, man,
this is a prequel television series. This is not the movies. This is a prequel television series coming in the fall.
Well, specifically as far as the Balerian Jihad, like if anybody watched Dune and didn't hear it from us, like, isn't it a little bit weird that computers weren't better in the future? And the answer that they retrofitted into it is the idea that AI was so good that they destroyed all of the AIs, and it's a religious doctrine that no AIs can do any AIing. And then
only drug addicted people can
only spice heads can do slide rule math in order to figure out how to go through the universe.
The Witcher season 4 is still being under production because they're doing seasons 4 and 5 back to back, but they gave us a teaser of Liam Hemsworth turning around and looking at you.
Teaser is the right word, my friend, because there was very little content in that.
No, this is simply meant to go, doesn't it look pretty much like Henry Cavill?
The answer is yes. If you
kind of did. Yeah. I was like, oh, that, yeah. I mean, I know it's not Henry Cavill, but yeah. All right. I'll buy it. Marvel teased a release date for Agatha All Along, which will be the name for that show. Daredevil and Ironheart. Agatha All Along will be coming to Disney Plus September 18th, 2 episodes at launch, then 1 every week after that. Daredevil Born Again coming in March 2025, and Ironheart coming later in 2025. We didn't really get a date for that, just a year. Also, they will no longer be showing the Marvel movie logo where they show all the heroes and everything in the Marvel sound. They're going to create a Marvel television and Marvel animation intro for these shows. And they said out loud, like, look, we know a lot of people felt like it was too much, that they had to watch every single thing to understand what was going on. And we want to signal that you can just watch the movies and still understand what's going on, or you can watch just the television shows and have a good time. So we are not linking them with that branding anymore.
So, Tom, I fear you're engaging Brian branding brain. Like, if you're
brain engaged,
if you're gonna do that, why bother to use the word Marvel? Like, maybe even come up with a different word. Like, it's the difference between like Coke. I think I've said this before, but like Coke Zero versus Diet Coke. Like, Diet Coke is Coke, but with less. Coke Zero is Coke with the benefit of no calories. I don't know. Last time I checked, they're not paying me, so I'm not going to give them.
What would they call it though? Because it is you want to get across it, like, yeah, these are Marvel stories.
What you would do is you would. Oh, okay, Tom. Congratulations.
I asked.
What you would do is you would have a new opening tag called Marvelous. Marvelous Entertainment. Something that is close to, but not exactly Marvel.
Or Marvelmation for the animation, or something better than that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, doggone it. Now I actually just want to go to work on branding for them, but they're not paying me, so I'm not going to. But the point is a slightly different word and a slightly different brand would be, and don't do the stupid thing. And I've mentioned this before. You guys all know that I love branding or whatever. Like, Toyota wanted to make a luxury vehicle line, and they surveyed all of their Toyota users. Hey, which would you like better, Toyota Supreme or this weird word, Lexus? Everybody who was a fan said Toyota Supreme. It's a Toyota, but more Supreme. And then instead, they quite wisely made their Supreme brand Lexus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
New word.
And a lot of people didn't even realize that it was the same company. Movie Pass has been documented on this show and Frame Rate before it, but HBO is doing a documentary show about Movie Pass that premieres May 29th.
I wish that I had the time in my day to pretend like I was gonna show you, like, oh yeah, they made a trailer, and then I would play a trailer, and it would be nothing but clips of Bryce Castillo talking about
Movie
movie
Pass.
pass from the last 5 years.
Yeah. I do like this story is going to be interesting, and they seem to have got all the principals to talk on the record by looks of the trailer about what went down. The rise and fall, what happened behind the scenes. I am skeptical of these television documentaries because they often are meant to make you feel a particular way, which video can do, and not really educate you on what happened. But that said, this one this one's a pretty crazy story, so maybe it's suited well to this format.
Personally, I hope that this story does very, very well for one reason, because if the Movie Pass documentary explodes, that means eventually, we're gonna get the Quibi documentary. That's all I want.
Please shoot it in portrait. That's all I ask.
No. Oh my God. What if they did that? What if you went to an IMAX theater and it was nothing but a vertical video?
Quibi, the documentary.
Segment was only 4 minutes long.
Well, no, you have to go back the next day for the next 4 minutes, for 12 years.
I mean, if this is what it takes to have everything that we've talked about for the last 14 years made into movies, fine.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it.
Only Murders in the Building season 4 has a date now. If you're a fan like I am, you can look for that on August 27th. Rick and Morty, the anime spin-off series, gave a sneak peek at some of the first footage. It will have 10 episodes on Adult Swim and HBO Max sometime this year. They haven't given us a date. But episode details were revealed at the Warner Brothers Discovery Upfront. According to the press release, they will show Rick relaxing in a pseudo world between multiverses. There's a story with Summer helping Space Beth fight the evil Galactic Federation. Morty falls in love with a mysterious girl who happens to be atemporal. This is what the Rick and Morty anime series does. It's like an anthology series of what if, we did this kind of story instead of a regular Rick and Morty.
Tom, I honestly don't know how to feel about this, because on the one hand, I love daring challenges. I love people trying crazy things. I love Rick and Morty. I love the universe. I love anime. I love literally every ingredient going into this. But I don't know how to feel about, like, I don't know. To me, this is a dumb parallel, but it's like Coca-Cola the mortgage. And it's like, well, I like good mortgage rates, and I like Coca-Cola,
the low interest
but I don't know why I'm associating Coca-Cola with low mortgage rates.
Yeah, no, I get you. Two great tastes don't always taste great together. I don't know.
And maybe great, but I'm a wee bit confused, because
Gotcha.
I like me good anime. I like me Rick and Morty. It's very hard for me to watch these. It's one borrowing cultural credit from another, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Gotcha. All right. New topic. Fallout series by Amazon Prime Video was pretty good, right?
Great.
Did you ever watch Fleabag on Amazon Prime Video with Phoebe Waller?
I am familiar with its excellent reputation for being very, very good.
What if I told you that Amazon Prime Video is going to make a live action video game series of Tomb Raider with Phoebe Waller-Bridge as the show's writer and executive producer? Would that be something that would interest you?
Only if it was in the Rick and Morty multiverse.
No, so the people who made Fallout happen are going to try to make Tomb Raider happen, and they're bringing Phoebe Waller-Bridge on board, which I think will bring a very interesting dynamic to the main character of Tomb Raider.
By the way, for those of you unfamiliar, before The Last of Us, before Fallout, I believe going back 30 years, including Doom and Super Mario Brothers, or actually, maybe we'll take out the Super Mario animated movie. The number one video game adaptation movie was Tomb Raider, per Rotten Tomatoes, per box office mojo, per everything.
Wow. Yeah. And those movies were okay. They were pretty good, right?
Which again, I think is like why they worked, is because they didn't overdo it. Like, for example, the video game, if you played Prince of Persia, what is it, the Dagger of Time or something, but like that one had Jake Gyllenhaal and didn't even make a dent compared to Angelina Jolie doing a reboot of Indiana Jones.
And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I gotta say, Fleabag was great. I loved it. Killing Eve was fantastic. She also wrote on No Time to Die, the James Bond movie. I don't know Crashing or Drifters, which she wrote on. I don't know Golden Boy or Run, which she produced. But of the stuff that I have consumed, I've been pretty impressed. So I think it's probably going to be, I don't know, good chance it's going to be good. The Boys has been renewed for season 5 at Amazon. Yes, you're right. Season 4 has not yet premiered. It's premiering just in a couple of days, but it has been renewed for season 5. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the series, renewed for season 2 at Prime Video, and Mortal Kombat 2 will hit cinemas on October 24th, 2025 in IMAX.
Of those three, Tom,
yes,
which are you the most excited about?
I don't have an answer.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Let's look for some buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Listen to Night Attack, we'll know why. Or Great Night. Did I just call it Night Attack? It's the
Night Attack. You know what? That means you won the belt. You have to wear the helmet.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, on NSFW show, you talked about why you haven't been able to watch a lot of TV shows, but you did get your love of Detroiters reignited. Don't know?
Yeah. So the one thing, like, every single week, I have to think of something that is not a thing that I said the week before that I watched, because we all have our habits, we fall into things. But there was 5 minutes of bliss, beautiful bliss, and that was I believe the Detroit Lions on their official NFL Instagram account said, "Hey, we needed to release our schedule, so we got a couple of Detroiters to, pitch it for us." And it's Sam Richardson and it's Tim Robinson, and boy, oh boy, are they having fun. And it's just straight up Detroiters. It's them in character. I did not pay attention to any of the sports things. I was just happy to see them having a very, very good time. If you've not watched Detroiters, please watch Detroiters. You'll really like it.
I love Detroiters. I've watched both seasons, and all this does is make me want them to make more Detroiters again. Like, I don't know, could this do what happened with Ted Lasso?
Well,
now Ted Lasso was never an actual series, but it was an NBC promotional idea that kept getting so much attention that it eventually made it into a show. Could this bring back attention and make someone want to give Detroiters more seasons?
It won't be called Detroiters, but I believe on this program, or maybe, I don't know, you and I do so much stuff, it's hard to keep track. But there, Tim Robinson has been picked to create a show about in the format of Detroiters, about people at a call center, and Sam Richardson is attached. You tell me, Tom, does that sound a little bit like, under a different name, something close to the wonderful, beautiful, most happiest thing I've ever seen in my life, Detroiters?
No, it does. It does. I just want it to be called Detroiters, but that's selfish. As long as it comes back, I really don't Really should be
Well,
great.
and
Yeah.
plus also it's like I wouldn't want it like Sam Richardson. What was the Apple TV Plus one? The mystery one. After Party.
Oh yeah, yeah.
After Party was so good. That duo, both independently and together, is just magic. I can
Yeah.
never ever get enough of the two of them together.
Classic comedy team that works amazingly together. I actually want to give a shout out to Bob's Burgers, which just finished what is 16th season. I can't remember. I'm taking let me see if I can dig it up.
Maybe it'll turn into something for them.
13th, 14th season. Just
Good
finished
for
up.
them. Who knows? Maybe they'll get a movie.
Yeah, they already had that. They had a movie already.
Maybe they'll get another movie.
Maybe they'll get a second movie. It's 14 seasons, so 7 seasons in a movie. It's now time for another movie.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, Bob's Burgers is just always good. It is like a consistent burger. You always know what you're going to get. It's always tasty. It's always fun. It is for decades now been my relaxation time. I always just put on a Bob's Burgers and enjoy every minute of it.
The reputation around The Simpsons is that it had a peak level and then fell off. I've not heard anything close to that with Bob's Burgers. It seems like
just level. Now, that's a turnoff for some people. Some people get tired of it because they're like, well, it's not changing or growing. I don't want that from Bob's Burgers.
Right.
I want to be able to sit down with the Belcher family and have a Belcher family adventure. And they're delightful at it. They're just, it's a
little bit like every time I get on the treadmill, I'm not hoping that somebody has super glued road bump tiles on it to make my run difficult. I'm just happy to be running it again.
Yeah. Go check it out. Bob's Burgers on Hulu if you haven't already. There's 14 seasons, so you got plenty to watch. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Real quickly, I do want to remind folks that I have a free tech newsletter. It comes out on Thursdays, once a week, giving you a little more than what I give you on podcasts. So it's a written form, a little more of my own opinions injected in, and it's a great way to keep up on technology news. I also include a lot of the stuff we talk about on Cordkillers as it goes along. If you upgrade to the paid version, you get it Monday through Friday. So you can either get it for free once a week, or you can get it every day of the work week, Monday through Friday. That's freetechnewsletter.com.
Can I make a pitch?
Please do.
Like most of the people who want to sign up for this, you are, when you speak on Daily Tech News Show, you're not only the host, you're not only the talent, you're not only the thoughtful writer and choreographer of everything, but almost certainly there's your secret thoughts that you really hope you'll have the chance to talk about. Kind of like the way on this show, I just dangle an opportunity to talk about branding in front of me, and I'll leap at it, right? So if you want to know the secret thoughts of Tom behind the scenes of DTNS, would it be fair to say that's what you're going to get in this newsletter?
Yeah, because on DTNS, I'm playing moderator. So I will make my opinions known, but I also have to make room for all the opinions and make sure you get a well-rounded look at everything. The newsletter is just me. So you're gonna get all me every time on every story.
Yeah.
Check it out. freetechnewsletter.com. Let's scan the horizon.
Send a scanning crew aboard.
Scanning the horizon!
The combined sports streaming platform from Disney, ESPN, Fox Sports, and Warner Brothers Discovery, TNT and TBS, has a name. Brian, get your branding brain back in gear. It's called Venue Sports. VENU. No E.
Hold on. So this is really interesting because reading it, I thought it was Venu, which made me think of venal, which is a type of sin. But
no, venue, like a place you go to watch a sport game.
So Wow. I just had my mind blown because this is what economists call a natural experiment, where if you hear it, you're going to know it's a play on venue, but if you read it, you're going to think it's a play on sin. Uh wow. That's literally my only comment. Wow.
It'll combine sports from 14 channels overall, and apparently still on track for an autumn launch. Still haven't told us how much it's going to be, but it is going to be called Venu. Makes me think of like an alien, like
Yeah,
or
exactly.
or a
Like
god,
I am
the
Venus
god Venu.
or V'ger
But it
or
will be called Venue without an E, Venue Sports. Also, Warner Brothers Discovery is going to sublicense some college football games from ESPN. Now, if you get Venue, it won't matter because they'll show up on it either way. But some shows that will have ESPN broadcasters on them will show up on TNT or TBS. And then that same story from Variety says that the NBA rights are almost locked up. Apparently, NBC, ESPN, and Amazon have all agreed to carry the NBA. So it sounds like you're going to get some NBA games on Amazon Prime Video, but Warner, who's become identified with the NBA, has the best NBA analysis show in the game, has not yet signed its deal yet. So that's why we haven't heard what's happening with the NBA rights. Is we're waiting on Warner and NBA to come to an agreement.
so we've seen a lot of networks try to associate themselves with one particular sport and be like the place for that sport. But both NBA and NFL are so loosey goosey. They're kind of sleeping around. Like if I asked you, where's the one place? You know what? Silly example. While I was on the road, I saw the air guitar championships. Do you know where I saw it, Tom?
No.
ESPN H8 the Ocho on Sunday morning, right? Like where else are you going to see it, right? Same thing for I don't know, let's say pickleball or what have you. But at this point, if I say, "Hey, where do I go to watch the NFL?" What would your answer be? Or
Well,
the NBA?
it is going to be different. It is all of them have multiple places. So NBA this year is ESPN and TNT, TBS, the Warner things. It's split between those two. And with ESPN, you get ABC. NFL is on CBS, Fox, and then also Amazon, Peacock, and apparently Netflix. Major League Baseball has games on Fox, has games on ESPN, as well as local broadcasters. So they're all kind of split up across multiple networks, and streamers coming in are splitting it even more because Major League Baseball also has Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, yeah. My silence is answer enough, sir.
Well, how about some bundles? Later this month, Comcast is going to offer its broadband TV and mobile customers. So you have to be a Comcast customer of some kind to get Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV Plus for $15 a month. If you were to subscribe to all three of these separately, it would cost you $23 a month, though Peacock is getting a price increase on its lowest tier starting July 17th of $2. So after July, this bundle will be saving you, instead of saving you $8, it'll be saving you $10 a month. Again, you have to be a Comcast customer, smart for Comcast because it's a way to keep you as a customer because you get a bundle, but it's pretty significant savings.
Yeah, I used to be against bundles, but now and hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com if you differ with this opinion. I am strongly of the opinion now, Tom, that I believe you should get daily milk delivery, Patreon status on Cordkillers, and a Zoom magic show once a month for one low fee in a bundle that we should offer.
That's not the same thing. The same thing would be your dairy provider gives you a bundle of patreon.com/.
But you take my meaning, though.
Yes, I do. And speaking of which, Paramount is rumored to be talking with Amazon about bundling sales and advertising. So in other words, they might not just have Paramount Plus available on Amazon Prime Video as an add-on, which they already do, but they might be asking Amazon to do some of the selling for them as well. Speaking of selling ads, Max says there is not a huge audience disparity on its ad light and ad free versions of the service. The median age for the advertising supported service is 39, one of the youngest in their portfolio. So ads don't seem to make much of a difference on the demographic.
That phrase, the difference between ad light versus ad free, I agree. There's very little difference. And this is only as somebody who paid for an ad-free service that still had ads on it. But don't worry, they were ads for other shows on the same network.
That's a promo, not an ad. Okay.
All right.
And then, of course, when you watch live sports, there's going to be ads, even if you have the ad light or the ad-free version. Anyway,
fair enough.
That's enough of that. Let's check the chatter.
Got mail.
Oh dear, Brian. We have an angry email from James C. Smith here. James C. Smith writes, I can't believe the thoughtless way you were talking about tennis butts without mentioning volleyball butts. What is with you, Brian? Keep killing, James C. Smith.
Okay. Now, for those of you who didn't hear the previous episode, I was talking about how curious doubles tennis is because one of the natural movements ladies make, men and women, is to loosen up their ligaments while one person is serving, the other one kind of wiggles in a mini skirt. And it was very strange to see that in a public space. I agree. I did a disservice to volleyball, the Olympic sport where the uniform mandate dictated that you had to wear dental floss across parts of your body up until about 2 years ago. And in this case, to drop the bit for a little bit, as the father of 3 daughters, I think it's great that they desexified beach volleyball as an Olympic sport, or at least gave the option. I believe if you want to wear a swimsuit, you can, but I don't know. I think more freedom on the choice of everybody knows that I'm pro-independent in all things, basically.
And I just want to remind again that a lot of people watch for male butts as well. Brian, the base element of baseball, says Matt, is that it's an advanced version of tag. Tag, the game you used to play with your friends at recess at your elementary school. Whoever has the ball is it. If you're touching a base, you're safe. If you are tagged, you're out. It's just tag with a ball and a scoring system, and I love it. I hope I didn't just blow your mind. Kind regards, Matt.
Sorry, Matt, you did just blow my mind, because this is a reference to my question of most sports tend to be one core thing. For example, basketball, thing gets thrown, hits target. Football is war with a general and minions and all that stuff. And I asked out loud, musingly, what the game of baseball was. And I love this example of tag. How about you, Tom? You actually love the sport of baseball.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good analogy. And I love Matt's way of explaining it. Did you know that I once wrote an attempt to explain baseball from first principles as a blog post?
No. Have we talked about, and maybe I'll save this for After Talk, the exclusive segment that is only available to our Patreons. Have we talked about that, what football will be like in the year 17,000? Oh,
No.
I have a wonderful gift for you. If you've not become a patron, stick around, because it blew my mind, and I can't wait to share this with Tom. Oh my goodness.
And if anyone in chat's interested in my blog post, just let me know. Finally, Yaru in Malaysia says, for years, I've been listening to the show using a feed called Cordkillers Only on the Pocket Casts app, which is just the main show without spoiler in time episodes. However, lately, I noticed that the whole feed, not just recent episodes that have spoiler in time and full episodes, have appeared inside it. I use Cordkillers only because it makes it easier to track episodes of the main show. It's definitely the same feed as before, as the title has remained Cordkillers only as opposed to Cordkillers. Can you fix the feed to become Cordkillers only like before? Thank you, Yaru. Yaru, I apologize, but no. We made the decision because it was becoming increasingly untenable to figure out how to manage these multiple feeds to say, you know what? There are so few people using the only feeds, and I'm sorry you were one of them, and I'm sorry to everybody who's one of them, but there are so few people using it that it is just not worth the extra effort and complication to provide the separate feeds. So all of the feeds now point to the same stuff, which means you get the full experience and Cordkillers, which means you just have to delete the full experience if you don't want to listen to it. And I understand that's not as convenient, and I apologize, but it's just not something that made sense for us to keep up anymore. So it's all in just one feed now.
Well, and plus also we I don't know, I believe at one point we had like 5 different feeds based on which show you were interested in for spoiler in time and all that stuff.
There was an only feed for everything. There was a combined thing for everything. And then there was audio, and then there was video. And it was just, it was not worth the extra amount of work, time, and maintenance because, things break and then you have to go track it down and figure out why they broke and all of that. So yeah. And this was one of those that we simplified, and now there's just a video feed and an audio feed.
Yeah.
All right, folks, our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live at twitch.tv/Night Attack Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.